Hello, my dear listeners, and welcome to another episode of our whispered journey through history. Today, we're diving into a monumental period that shaped the very foundation of the United States of America, the American Revolution. Picture this, it's the early 1700s, and the American colonies are bustling with life. 13 colonies line the eastern coast of what we now know as the United States, stretching from the cold, rocky shores of New England to the warm, fertile lands of Georgia. These colonies, each with its unique character and economy, are under British rule, and their residents are British subjects. But life in the colonies isn't just a copy of life back in Britain. The vast, untamed lands of America offer opportunities and challenges that shape a distinct colonial identity. People are resourceful, independent, and resilient, carving out lives in the wilderness, building communities, and trading goods. From the bustling ports of Boston and New York to the plantations of Virginia and the Carolinas, the colonies thrive on a blend of agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship. Let's take a closer look at some of these colonies. In the north, New England colonies like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut are characterized by small farms, fishing, and trade. The people here are industrious and community-oriented, often gathering in town meetings to make decisions. The harsh winters and rocky soil make large-scale farming difficult, but the abundant coastline provides ample opportunity for fishing and shipping. In the middle colonies, such as New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, there is a mix of agriculture and commerce. Fertile soil and moderate climate allow for the cultivation of wheat, barley, and oats, earning these colonies the nickname the breadbasket of America. The presence of large cities like New York City and Philadelphia also means bustling ports and diverse populations, with immigrants from various parts of Europe contributing to a rich cultural tapestry. Further south, the Chesapeake colonies of Maryland and Virginia, along with the southern colonies of the Carolinas and Georgia, are dominated by plantation agriculture. Here, vast fields of tobacco, rice, and indigo are cultivated by enslaved Africans, whose labor is essential to the colony's economies. The wealth generated from these plantations creates a distinct social hierarchy, with a small elite class of plantation owners wielding significant power. As the colonies grow, so does their desire for self-governance. They develop their own legislative assemblies and local governments, creating a sense of autonomy and local control. In Virginia, the House of Burgesses, established in 1619, becomes a model of representative government. In New England, town meetings allow residents to have a direct say in local affairs. However, the British Crown still holds ultimate authority, and tensions begin to simmer beneath the surface. The seeds of discontent are sown in the early 1760s when the British government, burdened by debt from the 7 Years' War, looks to the colonies as a source of revenue. This war, known in America as the French and Indian War, saw British and colonial forces fighting against the French and their Native American allies. While the war's outcome significantly expanded British territorial claims in North America, it also left the British treasury depleted. To recoup some of the costs, the British Parliament begins imposing a series of taxes and regulations on the colonies. The first of these is the Sugar Act of 1764, which places a tax on sugar and molasses imported into the colonies. While the tax itself is relatively modest, it represents a shift in British policy as it is enforced more strictly than previous regulations. The following year brings the Stamp Act of 1765, a much more direct and visible form of taxation. This act requires that many printed materials in the colonies, including newspapers, legal documents, and playing cards, bear a stamp purchase from the British government. The colonists react with outrage, arguing that they should not be taxed without their consent, a principle they believe is enshrined in their rights as Englishmen. The rallying cry "No taxation without representation" begins to spread. This growing frustration leads to organized resistance. Groups like the Sons of Liberty, led by passionate patriots like Samuel Adams and John Hancock, begin to emerge. They stage protests, boycott British goods, and sometimes resort to acts of defiance, like the famous Boston Tea Party in 1773, where colonists, disguised as Native Americans, dump an entire shipment of tea into Boston Harbor. As tensions escalate, colonial leaders convene in Philadelphia for the First Continental Congress in 1774. They discuss their grievances and seek a unified response to British policies. Although they aren't calling for independence yet, their desire for greater autonomy and respect is clear. Despite these efforts at reconciliation, the situation reaches a boiling point in April 1775, when the first shots of the revolution are fired at the battles of Lexington and Concord. These clashes mark the beginning of armed conflict between the colonists and British troops. The American Revolution has officially begun, setting the stage for a war that will ultimately lead to the birth of a new nation. So, my dear listeners, we've set the stage for this incredible journey. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the unfolding drama of the American Revolution, exploring the key events, battles, and figures that shaped this pivotal moment in history. As the American Revolution ignites, the colonies find themselves in a full-scale conflict with the might of the British Empire. The battles of Lexington and Concord are just the beginning, and both sides quickly realize that this war will be long and arduous. In May 1775, a mere month after the first shots were fired, colonial leaders gather once again in Philadelphia for the Second Continental Congress. This assembly of delegates from all 13 colonies is faced with the daunting task of organizing a war effort against one of the world's most powerful nations. Among the delegates are some of the most prominent figures in American history, including John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. One of the Congress's first major decisions is to appoint a commander-in-chief for the Continental Army. The choice falls on George Washington, a respected Virginian with military experience from the French and Indian War. Washington's leadership qualities and his ability to unite the various colonies under a common cause make him the ideal candidate. He accepts the position with humility, fully aware of the immense challenges ahead. Washington takes command of a ragtag group of militiamen and begins the arduous task of transforming them into a disciplined fighting force. Supplies are scarce, training is minimal, and the challenges are immense. Yet, under Washington's steady leadership, the Continental Army slowly starts to take shape. His strategic mind and unwavering determination become pivotal in the early stages of the war. Meanwhile, the conflict intensifies. The British, under General Thomas Gage, control the vital city of Boston, and the colonial forces lay siege to the city. The Siege of Boston lasts for nearly a year, during which the Patriots fortify positions and prepare for a long struggle. In June 1775, the Battle of Bunker Hill takes place. Although technically a British victory, the heavy casualties inflicted on the British troops demonstrate that the colonists are capable of standing up to the world's most powerful army. The battle boosts patriot morale and galvanizes support for the revolutionary cause. As the war progresses, the desire for complete independence from Britain grows stronger. Many colonists, initially seeking only fair treatment and representation, begin to see independence as the only solution. Influential pamphlets like Thomas Paine's Common Sense play a significant role in swaying public opinion. Paine's compelling arguments for self-governance and the natural rights of individuals resonate deeply with the colonists. His straightforward and powerful prose makes the case for independence accessible and convincing to a broad audience. By the summer of 1776, the momentum for independence reaches a peak. The Continental Congress forms a committee to draft a document declaring the colonies' independence from Britain. The task of writing this Declaration of Independence falls to Thomas Jefferson, a gifted writer and thinker. Jefferson, drawing on the ideas of Enlightenment philosophers like John Locke, eloquently articulates the colonies' grievances and their right to self-determination. The Declaration proclaims that all men are created equal and that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words not only galvanize the American people but also attract international attention and support for the revolutionary cause. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress officially adopts the Declaration of Independence, and the United States of America is born. This bold declaration marks a turning point in the Revolution, solidifying the colonies' commitment to breaking free from British rule. The Declaration is more than just a proclamation. It is a statement of principles that will come to define the new nation. It asserts that governments derive their power from the consent of the governed, and that when a government becomes destructive of these rights, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. However, declaring independence is one thing, achieving it is another. The war continues to rage, with battles fought across the colonies. The British capture New York City in 1776, forcing Washington's army to retreat and regroup. The loss of New York is a significant blow, but Washington's resilience and tactical acumen help keep the Continental Army intact. Despite the challenges, Washington manages to keep the army motivated and focused on the ultimate goal of independence. In December 1776, Washington leads a daring and successful surprise attack on the Hessian forces in Trenton, New Jersey. This victory, followed by another at Princeton, revitalizes the revolutionary spirit. These wins are crucial as they boost morale and prove that the Continental Army can achieve significant victories. Washington's ability to inspire his troops and his willingness to take bold risks pay off, providing the patriot cause with much-needed momentum. As the war drags on, the involvement of foreign allies becomes crucial. The French, motivated by a desire to weaken their old enemy Britain, provide vital support to the American cause. French military aid, financial assistance, and the leadership of figures like the Marquis de Lafayette play a pivotal role in sustaining the revolution. Lafayette, a young French nobleman, becomes one of Washington's most trusted generals. His commitment to the American cause and his ability to rally French support are invaluable. The Continental Army also benefits from the expertise of Baron von Steuben, a Prussian military officer who arrives at Valley Forge in the winter of 1777 to 1778. Valley Forge is a harsh and trying time for the American troops, who suffer from cold, hunger, and disease. Yet, it is here that von Steuben implements rigorous training and discipline, transforming the Continental Army into a more effective fighting force. His contributions are instrumental in improving the soldiers' skills and boosting their confidence. Despite these efforts, the war remains a brutal and challenging endeavor. The British, with their superior resources and trained soldiers, continued to pose a formidable threat. However, the Americans' resilience, determination, and the growing support from international allies keep the revolutionary cause alive. The struggle for independence continues for several more years, marked by fierce battles, strategic maneuvers, and the unwavering determination of the American people. The journey is far from over, but the foundation of a new nation has been laid, and the spirit of freedom burns brighter than ever. So, my dear listeners, stay with us as we explore the turning points, challenges, and ultimate triumph of the American Revolution in the next part of our journey. As the American Revolution progresses, the stakes grow higher and the battles fiercer. Both sides experience victories and setbacks, and the war becomes a test of endurance and strategy. In 1777, the British launch a campaign to control the Hudson River Valley, aiming to cut off New England from the other colonies. This plan leads to the pivotal battles of Saratoga. The American forces, led by General Horatio Gates and the valiant Benedict Arnold, achieve a stunning victory over British General John Burgoyne. Burgoyne's surrender in October 1777 marks a significant turning point in the war, as it demonstrates that the American forces can defeat the British in large-scale engagements. The victory at Saratoga is monumental for another reason. It convinces France to formally enter the war as an ally of the United States. The French have been secretly supplying the Americans with arms and funds, but the Saratoga triumph solidifies their commitment. In February 1778, France and the United States signed the Treaty of Alliance. French military support, including troops, naval power, and financial aid, proves to be crucial in the American struggle for independence. This alliance shifts the balance of power and gives the American cause a significant boost. Despite the growing support and occasional victories, the American forces still face numerous hardships. The winter of 1777 to 1778 at Valley Forge is particularly harsh. Washington's army endures extreme cold, hunger, and disease. The conditions are dire, with soldiers lacking proper clothing and shelter. However, it is during this time that the army undergoes crucial training and discipline under the guidance of Baron von Steuben. Von Steuben, a Prussian military officer, introduces rigorous drills and a standardized training program, transforming the Continental Army into a more effective and disciplined fighting force. His efforts greatly improve the soldiers' skills and morale. By 1780, the war has reached the southern colonies, where brutal battles and guerrilla warfare tactics dominate. The British, under General Charles Cornwallis, capture key cities like Charleston and Savannah, and the conflict becomes increasingly vicious. However, American leaders such as Nathanael Greene and Daniel Morgan employ clever strategies to harass and weaken the British. Greene's strategy of dividing his forces and engaging in hit-and-run tactics frustrates the British and gradually wears them down. The Battle of Cowpens in January 1781, where Morgan's forces decisively defeat the British, is a notable example of American tactical ingenuity. In 1781, the war reaches its climax with the Siege of Yorktown. British General Cornwallis, seeking to secure Virginia, fortifies his position at Yorktown, hoping for reinforcements from the British Navy. However, the combined American and French forces, led by Washington and French General Rochambeau, lay siege to the city. The French Navy, under Admiral de Grasse, successfully blocks the Chesapeake Bay, preventing British reinforcements from arriving. The siege lasts for several weeks, with intense bombardments and fierce fighting. Washington's troops, along with French soldiers, construct siege lines, and slowly tighten the noose around the British. The cooperation between the American and French forces is exemplary, showcasing the strength of their alliance. Finally, on October 19, 1781, Cornwallis surrenders his entire army to Washington. This decisive victory effectively ends major combat operations in the American Revolution. The news of Cornwallis's surrender spreads quickly, and celebrations erupt throughout the colonies. Although the war's end is now in sight, it takes nearly 2 more years of negotiations before the Treaty of Paris is signed in 1783. This treaty officially recognizes the independence of the United States and establishes its borders. The American Revolution has successfully achieved its goal of creating a new, independent nation. With peace finally secured, the challenges of building a nation began. The Articles of Confederation, the first governing document of the United States, prove inadequate for the needs of the new nation. Debates and discussions about the structure of the government lead to the Constitutional Convention in 1787. Here, the United States Constitution is drafted, establishing a framework for a federal government with checks and balances. The Constitution is later ratified by the states, laying the foundation for the United States political system. The American Revolution is more than just a war for independence. It is a profound transformation that shapes the ideals and principles of the new nation. The ideas of liberty, equality, and democracy, articulated in the Declaration of Independence and later enshrined in the Constitution, set the foundation for the United States and inspire future generations around the world. As we reflect on this incredible journey, it's important to remember the sacrifices and struggles of those who fought for independence. The courage and determination of the American people, the leadership of figures like Washington, and the support of international allies all played crucial roles in the revolution's success. The birth of the United States marks the beginning of a new chapter in the history of freedom and democracy. So, my dear listeners, we've explored the key events and turning points of the American Revolution. Stay with us as we delve into the lives and contributions of the remarkable individuals who made this revolutionary journey possible. Their stories of bravery, vision, and perseverance continue to inspire us today. Now that we've covered the major events of the American Revolution, let's take a closer look at the remarkable individuals whose contributions were pivotal in shaping this historic movement. First, we have George Washington, the cornerstone of American leadership. Washington's early military experiences and his role in the French and Indian War provided him with the strategic acumen needed to lead the Continental Army. His ability to maintain the morale of his troops, even in the bleakest of winters at Valley Forge, and his bold strategies, such as the surprise attack on Trenton, exemplify his unwavering commitment to the revolutionary cause. Washington's leadership at the Siege of Yorktown, which led to Cornwallis's surrender, cemented his legacy as a foundational figure in American history. Next, let's talk about Thomas Jefferson, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson's eloquence and philosophical grounding in Enlightenment ideals are evident in this historic document. His assertion that all men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights laid the ideological foundation for the new nation. Jefferson's vision extended beyond the battlefield. As the third president of the United States, he oversaw the Louisiana Purchase and supported the Lewis and Clark expedition, significantly expanding the nation's boundaries. John Adams, another key figure, played a crucial role in the push for independence. A brilliant lawyer and a persuasive orator, Adams was instrumental in rallying support for the revolutionary cause within the Continental Congress. He worked tirelessly behind the scenes to secure foreign alliances, particularly with France, and was a driving force in the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. Adams's diplomatic skills were further demonstrated when he helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the war and recognized American independence. His contributions continued as he served as the second President of the United States, navigating the young nation through its formative years. Thomas Paine, through his writing, galvanized public opinion in favor of independence. His pamphlet Common Sense broke down complex political theories into clear, compelling arguments that resonated with the common people. Paine's ability to communicate the need for independence and a new form of government helped shift the mindset of many colonists, turning the tide of public sentiment toward revolution. His subsequent works, including The American Crisis, continued to inspire and motivate the patriots during the darkest days of the war. Patrick Henry, renowned for his fiery oratory, was a vocal advocate for independence and individual liberties. His famous declaration, "Give me liberty or give me death," became a rallying cry for the revolution. Henry's speeches inspired many to join the cause and take up arms against British tyranny. As a prominent leader in Virginia, he played a key role in mobilizing support for the revolutionary effort and shaping the emerging nation's values of freedom and self-governance. But the American Revolution wasn't just fought by these prominent leaders, it was a collective effort involving countless unsung heroes. The common soldiers, who faced brutal conditions and long odds, showed immense courage and determination. Women, too, played vital roles, from managing farms and businesses in their husbands' absence to serving as spies and messengers. Figures like Abigail Adams advocated for women's rights and contributed to the revolutionary discourse. African Americans and Native Americans, despite their complex and often contradictory positions, also participated in the conflict, each group seeking their own version of freedom and justice. The revolution was not without its internal conflicts and contradictions. The ideals of liberty and equality espoused by the revolutionaries stood in stark contrast to the reality of slavery and the treatment of Native Americans. These issues would continue to challenge the young nation, leading to future struggles and debates about the true meaning of freedom and equality in America. As the war drew to a close and independence was secured, the focus shifted to building a nation that could embody the principles for which the revolution was fought. The Articles of Confederation, which initially governed the United States, proved too weak to manage the demands of a growing nation. This realization led to the Constitutional Convention of 1787, where delegates debated and crafted the United States Constitution. This new framework of government introduced a system of checks and balances designed to prevent tyranny and ensure the protection of individual rights. The Constitution, with its Bill of Rights, sought to balance the need for a strong central government with the protection of states' rights and individual liberties. Figures like James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, played a crucial role in shaping this foundational document. The debates and compromises made during the convention reflected the diverse and sometimes conflicting interests of the states, but ultimately they produced a durable framework for governance that has endured for over 2 centuries. The American Revolution set a powerful precedent, not only for the United States, but for the world. It demonstrated that a people united by common ideals could overthrow tyranny and establish a government based on the consent of the governed. The revolution inspired other movements for independence and democratic reforms around the globe, from the French Revolution to the struggles for independence in Latin America. As we conclude our journey through the American Revolution, it's important to reflect on the enduring legacy of this historic period. The principles of liberty, equality, and democracy that emerged from the Revolution continued to shape the American identity and influence global aspirations for freedom. The story of the American Revolution is a testament to the power of collective action, the importance of visionary leadership, and the enduring quest for a more just and equitable society. The most important names of the American Revolution period. George Washington. George Washington is often hailed as the father of his country. Born in 1732 in Virginia, Washington emerged as a leader during the French and Indian War, gaining valuable military experience. His appointment as the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army in 1775 was a pivotal moment in the American Revolution. Washington faced immense challenges, including inadequate supplies, untrained soldiers, and harsh conditions. Despite these difficulties, his leadership, strategic acumen, and unyielding determination kept the revolutionary cause alive. Washington's ability to inspire and unify his troops was evident during the harsh winter at Valley Forge, where his perseverance and the training provided by Baron von Steuben transformed the Continental Army into a more disciplined and effective fighting force. His bold tactics, such as the surprise attack on Trenton, showcased his willingness to take risks. The ultimate success at the Siege of Yorktown, where British General Cornwallis surrendered, cemented Washington's legacy as a foundational figure in American history. After the war, he presided over the Constitutional Convention and became the first President of the United States, setting many precedents for the office. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, born in 1743, was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson's eloquence and philosophical grounding in Enlightenment ideals are evident in this historic document, which articulated the colonies' grievances against Britain and their right to self-governance. His assertion that all men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness laid the ideological foundation for the new nation. Jefferson's vision extended beyond the battlefield. As the third President of the United States, he oversaw the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, which doubled the size of the country, and supported the Lewis and Clark expedition, which explored the newly acquired Western territories. His contributions to American political thought and his influence on the nation's early development are profound. John Adams. John Adams, born in 1735 in Massachusetts, was a fierce advocate for independence. As a prominent lawyer and statesman, Adams was instrumental in persuading the Continental Congress to support the revolutionary cause. He played a crucial role in the drafting of the Declaration of Independence and was a key figure in securing foreign alliances, particularly with France. Adams's diplomatic skills were further demonstrated when he helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which officially ended the Revolutionary War and recognized American independence. Adams also served as the first Vice President and the second President of the United States. His commitment to the principles of republicanism and his efforts to maintain peace with foreign nations were significant contributions to the young nation's stability. Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine, born in England in 1737, became one of the most influential writers of the American Revolution. His pamphlet Common Sense, published in January 1776, argued forcefully for American independence. Paine's clear and persuasive writing galvanized public support for the revolutionary cause, breaking down complex political ideas into accessible and compelling arguments. Paine's subsequent works, including the American Crisis series, continued to inspire and motivate the colonists throughout the war. His famous opening line, These are the times that triumphant souls became a rallying cry for the patriots. Paine's contributions to political thought and his ability to communicate revolutionary ideals played a crucial role in shaping public opinion during the Revolution. Patrick Henry. Patrick Henry, born in 1736 in Virginia, was a passionate orator and a fervent advocate for independence. His famous declaration, "Give me liberty or give me death," delivered in 1775, encapsulated the urgency and fervor of the revolutionary cause. Henry's speeches inspired many colonists to join the fight against British tyranny. Henry was a prominent leader in Virginia, serving in the Virginia House of Burgesses and later as the state's governor. His advocacy for individual liberties and his opposition to the perceived overreach of British authority made him a key figure in the early stages of the Revolution. Henry's dedication to the principles of freedom and self-governance left a lasting impact on the formation of the United States. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, born in 1706, was a polymath whose contributions to the American Revolution were manifold. As a scientist, inventor, diplomat, and writer, Franklin played a critical role in securing French support for the American cause. His diplomatic skills and charm helped forge a strong alliance with France, bringing much-needed financial and military aid to the struggling colonies. Franklin's involvement in the drafting of the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution showcased his influence on the foundational documents of the nation. His wisdom, wit, and scientific achievements made him a beloved figure both in America and abroad. Franklin's legacy extends beyond his political contributions. His inventions and scientific discoveries also left a lasting mark on history. Marquis de Lafayette. The Marquis de Lafayette, born in France in 1757, was a young nobleman who became one of George Washington's most trusted generals. Lafayette's enthusiasm for the American cause and his ability to rally French support were invaluable. He played a key role in several major battles, including the Siege of Yorktown. Lafayette's commitment to the principles of liberty and his close relationship with Washington symbolized the strong bond between the American and French revolutionary movements. After the war, Lafayette continued to support democratic ideals in France, becoming a prominent figure in the French Revolution. His enduring friendship with the United States and his contributions to both revolutions make him a significant historical figure. Abigail Adams. Abigail Adams, born in 1744, was not only the wife of John Adams but also a formidable thinker and advocate for women's rights. Her extensive correspondence with her husband provides valuable insights into the Revolutionary period and highlights her influence on his political views. Abigail famously urged John to remember the ladies when drafting new laws for the fledgling nation. Abigail's role extended beyond that of a supportive spouse. She managed the family farm, raised their children, and advised John on political matters. Her letters reveal her strong opinions on government and society, and her advocacy for women's education and property rights laid the groundwork for future movements toward gender equality. Abigail Adams's contributions to American history demonstrate the vital role women played in the nation's founding. Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton, born in the West Indies in 1755, rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most influential founding fathers. As an aide-de-camp to George Washington during the Revolutionary War, Hamilton's intelligence and organizational skills were invaluable. He played a key role in major battles and strategic planning. After the war, Hamilton was a driving force behind the ratification of the United States Constitution, writing a majority of the Federalist Papers, which argued for a strong central government. As the first Secretary of the Treasury, Hamilton established the nation's financial system, including the creation of a national bank and the implementation of a federal tax system. His vision for a robust federal government and a dynamic economy significantly shaped the early United States. James Madison. James Madison, born in 1751 in Virginia, is often called the father of the Constitution for his pivotal role in its drafting and ratification. Madison's deep understanding of political theory and his contributions to the Federalist Papers were instrumental in shaping the new nation's government. Madison's influence extended beyond the Constitutional Convention. He also played a key role in drafting the Bill of Rights, which secured fundamental liberties for American citizens. As the fourth President of the United States, Madison led the nation through the War of 1812, solidifying America's independence from Britain. His commitment to constitutional principles and individual rights left a lasting legacy on the nation's legal and political systems. John Hancock. John Hancock, born in 1737, is best remembered for his bold signature on the Declaration of Independence. As president of the Second Continental Congress, Hancock played a key role in coordinating the revolutionary efforts. He was a prominent merchant and a vocal advocate for colonial rights, using his wealth and influence to support the Patriot cause. Hancock's leadership and commitment to independence were crucial in the early stages of the Revolution. Samuel Adams. Samuel Adams, born in 1722, was a master propagandist and a leading figure in the movement for independence. He helped organize resistance to British policies, including the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts, and was a key instigator of the Boston Tea Party. Adams' ability to mobilize public opinion and his dedication to the revolutionary cause made him a crucial leader in the early stages of the conflict. He also served as governor of Massachusetts, continuing his work to build and strengthen the new nation. Paul Revere. Paul Revere, born in 1735, is famous for his midnight ride to warn the colonial militia of the approaching British forces before the battles of Lexington and Concord. Revere was a skilled silversmith and a fervent patriot who played a significant role in the early revolutionary activities. His actions on the night of April 18, 1775, helped prepare the colonial forces for the British advance, making him a celebrated hero of the Revolution. Nathanael Greene. Nathanael Greene, born in 1742, was one of George Washington's most trusted generals. Greene's strategic brilliance was particularly evident in the Southern Campaign, where he employed guerrilla warfare tactics and divided his forces to harass and weaken the British. His leadership at battles like Guilford Courthouse significantly contributed to the eventual British surrender at Yorktown. Greene's ability to adapt and innovate on the battlefield made him a key figure in the American victory. John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones, born in 1747 in Scotland, is often referred to as the father of the American Navy. Jones was a daring and skilled naval commander whose exploits during the Revolutionary War made him a national hero. His most famous victory came in 1779 when he captured the British warship HMS Serapis in a fierce battle off the coast of England. Jones's naval successes boosted American morale and demonstrated the growing strength of the Continental Navy. Henry Knox. Henry Knox, born in 1750, was the chief artillery officer of the Continental Army. Knox's expertise in artillery and his innovative tactics played a crucial role in several key battles. One of his most notable achievements was the transport of heavy artillery from Fort Ticonderoga to Boston in the winter of 1775 to 1776, a feat that significantly strengthened the American siege of the city. After the war, Knox served as the first Secretary of War, helping to establish the United States Army. Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross, born in 1752, is often credited with sewing the first American flag. Although the story of her involvement is debated among historians, Ross was a skilled seamstress and upholsterer who supported the Patriot cause. Her association with the creation of the flag has made her an enduring symbol of American independence and craftsmanship. Frances Marion. Frances Marion, born in 1732, was known as the Swamp Fox for his unconventional and highly effective guerrilla warfare tactics. Operating in the swamps and forests of South Carolina, Marion led small bands of militia in surprise attacks against British forces, disrupting their supply lines and communications. His mastery of irregular warfare helped turn the tide in the Southern Campaign and earned him a reputation as one of the most formidable leaders of the Revolution. John Jay. John Jay, born in 1745, was a diplomat and statesman who played a crucial role in the negotiation of the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the Revolutionary War. As a skilled negotiator, Jay helped secure favorable terms for the United States, including recognition of its independence and territorial gains. He also contributed to the Federalist Papers and served as the first Chief Justice of the United States, helping to establish the foundation of the American legal system. Mercy Otis Warren. Mercy Otis Warren, born in 1728, was a political writer and propagandist who used her literary talents to support the Patriot cause. Warren wrote plays, poems, and essays that criticized British policies and advocated for independence. Her works helped shape public opinion and provided intellectual support for the Revolution. Warren's contributions as a writer and historian highlighted the important role of women in the revolutionary movement.